The film begins today with a guy named Van. At that time, he was entering a stadium filled with a huge crowd of gang members. As soon as he walked in, he asked one question: "Where is Ahai?" The leader of these young men replied, "He assaulted one of my men, so I took revenge on him." Then, he ordered his men to teach Van a lesson, just like they did with Ahai. But what they didn't know was that Van was an extremely skilled fighter. He attacked them like a lion, with immense strength, taking them down one after another. No one in the entire place could stand against him. After a while of continuous fighting, and because the gang was so large, one of them managed to hit him on the head, knocking him to the ground. Immediately, they all piled on him, beating him relentlessly. But he resisted and took them all down, trying to escape. However, they caught him again and kept beating him until the police arrived. Sometime later, we see Van leaving prison, with an officer urging him to be a better person, stop fighting, and never return. Van then sets off on his way until he reaches a restaurant, where he asks for a guy named Kai. As soon as Kai sees him, he welcomes him warmly, and we learn that they've been old friends. Kai also introduces him to his wife, but as soon as she hears that this is the Van Kai had told her about, she leaves abruptly. Van asks his friend if there's any news about Ahai, and Kai tells him that Ahai is now working with the gangs and has become their best fighter. Since Van had just gotten out of prison, Kai offered to let him stay for a few days until he found a place. But as soon as Kai's wife heard this, she got furious. Kai tried to convince her, but she refused. Van took his things and left, ending up sleeping on the street since he had nowhere else to go. The next morning, Van wakes up and starts practicing his fighting techniques before setting off to look for any job to earn money for food. But as soon as people find out he's just been released from prison, they refuse to hire him. Meanwhile, a girl is chasing 3 thieves on a bike who stole her bag. The 3 trick her, taking her to a secluded place where they try to assault her. However, the girl knew a few fighting moves and managed to fight them off at first, until one of them hit her from behind, knocking her unconscious. When she wakes up, she's shocked to see Van standing beside her after defeating the 3 thieves and returning her bag. But she snaps at him. "Who are you to grab me like that?" He walks away without a word. Nearby, some workers are trying to lift a sofa with a rope, but the rope is faulty, and they can't move it up or down.